Hi, guys. Welcome to this episode of Wealth Wednesday, our podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about some exciting topics from income to RSPs, maybe just kind of touching on some things, new builds. Yeah, I kind of look forward to that. How are you guys doing today?
Great.
Good.
Awesome.
Spring's almost upon us.
Yay.
I'm excited for you guys.
School's almost out. Woohoo.
Nice. So, like I said, we're gonna just address some stuff. One of my favorite topics is new builds because I love it because I like young people. I like young people, and I think this is the best way for them to get into the market. So yeah, so that's one of the topics that I think I'm gonna love just talking about today.
Yeah, I know that we're always giving people information about the real estate market and kind of what's happening and how things are changing. But I think one of the most important topics, and that's why I think I love talking about this topic as well so much, is because it's like getting on that path to actually getting into the real estate market. So whether it's buying a new build or whether it's taking out equity, for example, taking out some money out of your house in order to actually go ahead and purchase, I think that that's pretty important. Even with like RRSPs, right? Using that $35,000 to actually use towards a deposit on a property does give you a huge boost. And I mean, you've been saving, or your parents have been saving for however long. So why not use that money to kind of get a head start? Everybody else is figuring out ways to get rich. So I mean, if we can give you a little gem of information on how to actually get to that point, I think that's the one way that we could say we're actually really doing our job.
The other thing I actually like about new builds is that it gives you time. Like you can pace yourself with your down payment. It's not, you don't have to come up with this lump sum and away you go. You can pace yourself month after month for like as much as like 180 days. I see some of them saying. So that's a neat way to accumulate your down payment over time for the 2 years.
Yeah, and if I can just give some clarification for anybody who doesn't actually know about the new build process. So like Kareen was saying, the reason why they work so well for people who don't necessarily have that massive lump sum that you need for a down payment on a house is because with new builds, typically it's $5,000 on signing. So these are the two typical things: $5,000 on signing, then up to 5% within the first 10 days of you signing that contract. So what that means is if you're buying a $400,000 condo, it would be $20,000 versus if you're buying a $400,000 condo right out the hop, you're looking at somewhere around 60 or 80 or in excess of that for your down payment. And then the remainder up to 20% comes along the way. So it will be 5% in 10 days, 5% in 90 days, or 180 days, depending on how long it is. We're in 2021 now. So if your condo's built in 2024, that payment period is spread out over the next 3 years. So that 5% comes along, which gives you an idea. I know last month we were talking about savings and true savings and how to actually make your money work for you. That's the same way, because you know that 5% is coming up. So now you're saving consistently towards that goal of getting that 5% and getting that 5% and getting that 5% or 2.5% or whatever incentives that there are.
That's right.
And I think just to tie in with what you said, TiAra, I think that way then you can look at your RSPs at that time to say, okay, well, I have X amount in RSPs. I don't need to withdraw everything, because you're going to, at that point in time, you can, by pacing yourself, you might not even have to take out your full amount of RSPs, which is good.
Yeah.
And also one of the things that drives me, especially like I said, for young people with this new build, is that this is the way your money grows the fastest for you. So as TiAra said, if you bought something now, 2021, you're not going to move in until 2024. that's 3 years of incremental payments growing for you. So if your down payment, by the time you're done and you close, if, say, for example, you bought a $400,000 home, as TiAra said, you'll realize that the amount that you earned on that 400, by the time you move into that home, it could be $500,000. And so that $500,000, now you gained 100,000, right? So it's so awesome when you get into a new build, your money grows for you. So you've put down $60,000 in 3 years, and in 3 years you're now in essence $160,000 in. So that's a lovely thing about a new build condominium, or you know what, even new build homes do the same thing for you. New build road town, semi-detaches or detached homes, they do the same thing. Your money grows for you. There's nothing else, unless you're a risk taker with regards to investments, but it's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed like real estate is.
And I think too, Angela, I think at that time when you're closing, if for some strange reason you can't keep the home at that point, you would have already accumulated the equity from when you first made that initial deposit, and then you would still have made something by the end of the 3 years. Mm-hmm. if you're forced to sell it or whatever. So okay. Like you said, your money from day one.
Yeah, and that's something that's important that always kind of look into, and that's why it's important to work with a realtor when you're doing a new build, because you want to negotiate that this property, you can sell it on a assignment sale, right? Because sometimes you can't. Sometimes they force you not to change the name on title, or force you're unable to sell before you take ownership of the property. So that's why it's important to always contact us to let us go over that with you, so at least you have an idea of how to make sure that you're safe and secure with your money, and you don't lose out on some of that money, because that $100,000 could just become $20,000 in your pocket.
Yeah, for sure. And I think even one of the other bonuses of working with a realtor, working with us specifically, is like when you sign up with our newsletter, or you subscribe to our newsletter, we're always feeding out information about new projects that are coming up. So you get the hot list so that you're able to purchase when the price is like this. So a lot of people don't even realize sometimes with new builds, they're released in phases. So we have access to the first phase, but sometimes by the time the public gets it, they're on the third phase or fourth phase. And by that time, the prices have raised, because as we're talking about, prices raise incrementally, right? So once you bought it at $400,000, by the time the second phase comes out, they're accounting for the changes in the market, and those prices will go up. So I mean, it's always, and the number one question that we get asked is, well, if I'm buying, what's it going to cost me? How much do I have to pay you? You do not pay us anything. There's no money coming out of your pocket. We might sing poorly in the car. We might crack a bad joke or two, but you're saving in the end, because we have the expertise in order to allow you to get to a more reasonable, whether it's incentives, bonuses in the actual property in the unit, or the deposit structure. So I mean, if it's free to you, why not use an expert in the field?
Absolutely.
Definitely, TiAra, I totally agree with you. Another thing is, I know a lot of parents like to kind of see how their children are doing, or help their kids through life. And as their children grows older, and because the market is so intense right now, it's kind of hard to get that down payment. And so one of the things that I talk a lot about is, taking out equity out of your home. Okay. It's not that difficult. Talk to your mortgage agent. We have mortgage agents that we can suggest that you can have conversation with. You can talk to your bank about taking out some equity. So if your property is worth $1 million and you can take out some equity, it's so nice that you take them out. And even for yourself to start investing, this is a good way to get into that market, is to get into that new build where it's incremental payments. And then you can get into a home, an investment home or a new home for your children, help them with their down payment.
For sure. You know, we're always saying, like, when people ask us, oh, when's the best time to buy? 5 years ago, that's the best time that you should have bought. So, I mean, we don't want to be 5 years from now thinking like, oh, well, I remember that podcast that I watched. I think that like the time is now. So if you do have a home, you already kind of got the leg up. I always say, like, getting into the first house is the easiest. It's always the getting into the first house is the hardest.
Yeah.
But once it's coming to the second or the third, then it's kind of a breeze because you already own something.
Right. And that's where we had talked about just being afraid of taking that risk. I can tell, I've been in the industry for quite some time, and I can say to you that when you buy a home, it does not depreciate. It does not depreciate. It's not like that car off the lot. It really grows for you. Sometimes it grows faster. Like in this market, your property grows fast. You'll get a lot out of your property right now if you decide to sell. But it's definitely always increases unless we have a crash. And I think Canada has gotten such a hold of not experiencing that bubble again, that they have control of it. And so I think that's where, we don't have to worry about the market crashing and then we lose everything. I think Canada's pretty much got a hold of things.
I mean, I live in a rental property and I still am in awe at the fact that it's doubled pretty much since it was purchased, doubled. That's crazy, 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 crazy. And doubled and then some.
Right.
I think it's crazy. And, but at the same time, like you said, you want to get your foot in because you want a piece of the pie, right? So that's the first hurdle, the first obstacle. But once you're in, then you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly that. And also, I mean, we might not experience a crash, but like real estate is something that you can hold on to. You can hold on to real estate for 10, 20, 30, 5 years, whatever the case may be. You're not going to lose out. If you find that you're not getting the price that you want for it at that time, hold on to it for another year, hold on to it for another 6 months until the market changes again, because there's always that benefit of owning real estate.
Up.
Yeah.
I know one of the things that I believe in too is that when you get into the real estate market and once you start purchasing or start selling your home and getting another home, upsizing, downsizing, whatever the situation is, it gets more comfortable. So there's no need to worry. And that's why we at Carty Real Estate, we strive to help you to get comfortable in the market and not feel threatened by the experience. We try to make it as smooth as possible.
So once you're in the process, it gets easier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is. It's a good thing. Real estate, I believe, I think it's the best thing to get into. So again, don't be afraid to get into it. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. There's no cost, as TiAra says, just talking to us and getting those answers. We'll be more than happy to help you. Important. Please continue to stay safe. Continue to, think of the people around you, right? The people around you, the people that you love, try to just continue to stay safe, because if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of others around you. So put on the mask on yourself first, and let's continue to just do this. Right?
And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.
Yeah. And follow us
button.
on YouTube, on
Instagram
and
Facebook, where we share lots of goodies also.
Email us, call us, 905-299-7653 or 905-757-1957. We'll be happy to just have a chat with you about real estate.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys. So we'll see you next month.